Listen, there's no right or wrong way to deal with the loss of a loved one. You can expect grieving to be rough, and it's different for every single person. Another important thing, it's not just a matter of coping with loss. It's about coping with change. And that, Wellcasters, takes a lot of time. Today on Wellcast, we're dealing with a pretty difficult subject. How do you deal with the death of a loved one? How do you live your life in the face of a life-changing event? We don't have all the answers. And honestly, you're going to have to work through your pain your own way, on your own pace. But if you're looking for it, we do have some advice. First things first. You need to remember that grief is a process and not a task. You might have heard of a popular theory that breaks up bereavement into stages. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. While you might identify with some or all of these steps, you gotta remember that grief is less like a staircase and more like a roller coaster. There are peaks and dips, and they always happen in predictable ways. You might feel better for a while, and then worse, and that's okay. It's natural to have an uneven journey with your grief. Don't be afraid of the pain. You shouldn't try to stuff your sorrow away into a place where you don't have to deal with it. It's just going to stay there. In order for you to work through your grief, you're first going to have to acknowledge that it exists. There are a lot of ways to do this. You might have to be alone for a bit. Maybe you need to write down your feelings in a journal. Talk to someone. Do things that make you happy. When you're grieving, it's sometimes difficult to hold on to who you are. After all, so much of your energy is focused on the mourning of your loved one, which is fair. But it's easy to get sucked into a mind space where you can't even remember your former self. We want to tell you it's okay to take time to do the things that make you feel like yourself and give you joy. Recognize the relationship between the mind and the body. When you're experiencing grief, it's really easy to forget the things that you usually do as a matter of routine. Taking a shower, getting enough sleep, eating. Neglecting your physical health is only going to take a greater toll on your mental health, which is taking a pretty significant hit right now. So do yourself a favor, and do us a favor, and make an effort to take care of you. It's what your loved one would want. Reach out. Wellcasters. If you take nothing else away from this episode, please remember this. You do not have to be alone in your grief. If your feelings are too overwhelming for you to sort out, that's okay. But go to someone else for help. It can be someone you know, a family member, a friend, or it can be a therapist or a professional who knows how to help people deal with this exact situation that you find yourself in right now. Just the act of talking out loud about your feelings can be incredibly cathartic. Finding someone who can help you sort them and work through them is even better. Tweet us at WatchWellcast. Email us at watchwellcast@gmail.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the grief process. Today, we're going to have another topic we're going to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen this afternoon. I hope all is well with everybody today. So today's question is, why are the holidays so bad for me during this time? This is a question we ask ourselves for those who are in that situation of grieving process. The reason why the holidays are bad for you is because you're so used to your loved ones being there. And on Friday, I talked about there are different types of grief mechanisms. You have the grief of losing a mom, you have the grief of losing a dad. Now I'm going to talk about the grief of losing a child as well as losing a spouse. There's different levels to the grief process. So the grief you may have for your dad may be a different grief you may have for your mom. It may be a different grief you have for your child. You may have a different grief that you have for your spouse. or a loved one that was very close to you. So you agreed differently. So each person had a different scenario in your life. For example, you may spend quality time with that particular relative on the summertime, or you may have went on vacation with a certain person during the wintertime, or you may have traveled during spring break, and then fall comes around. You may have did personal or some type of activities during those type of months. And when the holidays come, it triggers some emotions in you that cause you to spiral out of control. And when you spiral out of control, you get a little beside yourself. And when you get beside yourself, you lose focus of who you really are as a person. And coping with death can be different for every individual. And what I notice about grief, it spirals out of control at times. One minute you think you're fine, next minute you're back to wailing and crying. So it's like a on and off, back and forth tennis match type situation. So for most people who have went through the holidays, we are now in June, so we've made it through New Year's. What other holidays? Spring break, Mother's Day, birthdays for those who already had a birthday, and certain holidays that Memorial Day. So certain holidays and birthdays that have came on in the past, a lot of us wailed and grieved and had our emotions, and most kind of captured with pictures or certain things that kind of help them cope through that day. There's no right or wrong answer in terms of giving somebody advice regarding grief. It's just the facts of life. And everybody at some point is going to have to feel grief. Sad to say it. You're like, whoo, yeah, I thought I could duck it, but not in this lifetime. You're going to feel grief and experience it in a way that is going to cause you to really spiral out of control. And what I've learned about grief is if you are very close to that person, it's gonna hit you so hard, so bad, so effectively that every time a holiday come up, a birthday or anything that comes up, it's gonna cause you to have a really rough day. And then you may have other things along that's causing a lot of stress too. It's a lot of stress, a lot of pain, a lot of hurt that's causing you to really lose insight about some of the things that you're dealing with. And a lot of the things that you're dealing with is causing you to lose insight of how to progress day in and day out. When you go through the grief process, you have to understand it's an ongoing process. It's not always going to be easy. It's not going to always be happy. You're not going to always feel the joy that you once felt. You're a whole different person now that a part of you has been taken. A piece of your heart has been pulled apart because of what you have experienced. And what you've experienced is the grief that has engulfed you for so long that you don't even understand it yourself. Because you think in one minute you're okay, next minute you're fine, but in true reality, you're not fine, you're not okay. You're just And for me personally, it's an up and down progress. If a song plays or a favorite tune comes on, certain things that just don't mean nothing at all because that loved one, that individual, that special person is not there to cheer you up with a smile on your face, remind you that you're doing this and that. It's an ongoing struggle. So for those who've never experienced that, I need you to understand that grief is an ongoing cycle. And if you know friends and family that are going through this, tell them to come over to the One Time Ministries page to check out the grief process. There's so many questions and answers that people may want to have, and I'm going to kind of get into it a little bit this afternoon. So I'm going to break it down, probably give you about 5, maybe 6 questions. The first question is, will I ever feel better? The second question is, why does it hurt so bad? The third question is, will I ever recover? The fourth question is, why do people not understand? The sixth question is, Why am I so miserable? And the last question is, what can I do to help maintain some stability in my life? So, as I present these questions to you, they all have different answers to each question. So, my suggestions for each question is take it slow and easy. Don't push it, don't rush it, and don't force yourself. I'm going to say it again. Don't push it, don't force it, and don't rush yourself. Take as much time as you need to get through those challenging times in your life because only you know how you feel. You can sit here and explain to people day in and day out about how you're feeling, but at the end of the day, you need to really push back and ask yourself, what is it that I need to do to make my life more happy? What do I need to do to bring more joy in my life? What do I need? This is where you start to take care of yourself and start asking yourself these one-on-one questions to yourself. You ask yourself a question, give yourself an answer, and see what answers you come up with. And for me, I'm learning that being one with nature and getting out helps. Reading a lot of books, reading a lot of affirmations, watching funny videos, just going out and getting fresh air. It really helps. And getting the fresh air and replenishing my energy and getting that vitamin D, getting that sunlight to enjoy nature, you can feel a sense of relief because you're taking care of your mental state. So you're going out and doing things to keep yourself active and keep yourself motivated and keep yourself in tune with the day-to-day routines of life. And at times when the grief hits you, it's going to hit you like a drop of a dime. And you can fight it, but when it comes down on you, it comes down to you more. Because you're trying to avoid it, you're trying to not think about it. But when it hits you, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can try to cover it up, you can try to sweep it under the rug. But at the end of the day, you got to feel every ounce of that pain. You can consume drinking, alcohol, drugs, whatever it is that you feel that's going to help you. But I'm going to tell you right now, those things suppress it. So when you're not high or when you're not drinking, it's going to be a 10 times worse. That part. Because let me tell you like this, drinking and smoking is going to do more harm to your body. Because if you keep doing it every single day consistently, eventually it's going to start affecting other parts of your organs. And then you have grief along with health issues. It's not a good mixture because now you got to take care of yourself health wise, and then you won't dealing with you. So you got a double portion of a lot of this stuff that you are really dealing with. This word grief is circulating all through the world. There's so many people right now that they suicidal, depressed. Some of them don't want to talk about it because they feel like nobody understands. Some of them get on social media or get on YouTube or Twitter or Snapchat or Instagram and talk about their emotions and feelings and hoping that people will understand. And that's the only way a lot of people can get attention because they don't feel like the people that they with don't understand. They feel like the people that they're connected to don't understand, so they figure they go talk to complete strangers. Maybe somebody in cyber world can give them some type of advice or point them in the right direction. That's what a lot of people do when they need help. They don't know what else to turn to. They turn to social media to get some type of help and advice. And you may have a few that will help you, and you may have ones that just say, "Oh, that's their problem." But think about it. If you were in that person's shoes, you would just look at that a lot differently. And that's the real issue. That's what we're dealing with right now in this world. And there's so many people that are in support groups or in groups that people are talking and engaging and express their point of views about the things they are feeling. And every day they get up hoping that their day become better. Or they wake up and hope it improves. They get up hoping things will be better. But every time they look around, it's the same song and dance. So today's question was, why are the holidays so bad for me during this time? Because you missed this person very much. That's the bottom line. I gave you a lot of different points and categories doing this webinar today. I want to sit here and talk to you for a little bit about it, but that's the bottom line. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen. So everybody, thank you all for tuning into the Grief webinar. I'll be back on tomorrow at 2 p.m. on Time Ministry, streaming live on the On Time Ministry YouTube channel. Have an amazing day. Get ready to do who's remarkable. Expect